All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. Happy Backdrop Day. It is 1 p.m. on Thursday, May 22nd. Nate and I are live at the HTML5 Developer Conference, which is pretty exciting. The Wi-Fi seems to be pretty good enough to do this broadcast anyway, which is great. And so we're here to talk to you and also everyone here that we meet about Backdrop CMS. Backdrop is a fork of Drupal. It is going to be released this summer. We're hoping for June or July, with a set of Drupal 8 comparable features on a Drupal 7-like architecture. It's going to be slightly lighter weight than Drupal 7. It's going to be intended specifically for small to medium-sized businesses, nonprofits, and those people who need a lighter weight, easier to maintain, more affordable alternative to Drupal 8. In the process of working on Backdrop, we're going to be fixing existing bugs in Drupal 7, bugs that have been fixed in Drupal 8, and anything else that we find along the way. We're also going to be trying to simplify existing systems and add new features, as long as doing those two things can be done without too much API change. Part of the reason we're working on Backdrop is because we feel that Drupal 8 has changed too much, and there's a cost that comes with that change. So we're going to be working on creating another system that changes less. In terms of our progress, in the past few weeks, we've had a huge uptick on the number of pull requests, which is in a large part due to all of the interns we've had, which is great. We're working on looking at all of the commits that have happened between when we forked Backdrop and what's gone into Drupal 8 now, deciding which of those we'd like, prioritizing them, and trying to get them done. So we have a bunch of backport and crossport issues. In terms of backports, the ones we've been making the most progress on recently are the HTML5 issues, the JavaScript issues, and the CSS issues. In terms of Drupal 7 crossports, I know Andy's also been doing a bunch of pull requests against all of the commits that have been made to Drupal 7 that we also want done to Backdrop. So we're making a lot of progress in both of those areas, which is great. In terms of new projects that we're, new features that we're adding to Backdrop, we've got blocks and layouts, which it sounds like we're doing a sound check, so excuse the background noise if you hear that. We're working on blocks and layouts, which we've got a new user interface underway. We don't have it actually writing layouts yet because there's some technical challenges coming with that, but we're still thinking about good ways to do that. We've got views in core, where the views, the major part of views is in, and all that's left are conversions, so we need to take all of the listings of content and convert them to views instead. We've got config management, where the core of that is also in, and we just need to convert all of our existing configurations from variables and other things into configuration files instead. In terms of minor projects, we've been working on creating a separate identity for Backdrop so that when people install it, it doesn't just look like Drupal. We're doing that by replacing the word Drupal with the word Backdrop in all of the code, resetting the update numbers, which I think is done, and also trying to change the way it looks. So we've got a new administrative style guide that we're working on, and we're going to be kind of rebranding the installer as well. So move those up there. We're also trying to make some significant user experience improvements. So we have added the admin menu, or an administration menu, into core. We started with admin menu, which is one of the top 10 contributed modules in Drupal 7, and made some improvements to the Backdrop version and a couple of simplifications. And that's in. It works great. It's got a search box, which is something I think everyone will really love. And it is now mobile friendly, which is a big improvement there as well. Other things we're going to be working on is adding a rich text editor in core, and changing some of the terminology to make things make a little bit more sense as you're using the interface. And most recently, what we've been spending a ton of time on this week and last week especially is doing the theme system cleanup. We've been converting or consolidating template files, and we're going to start consolidating and eliminating theme functions that aren't needed, as well as making some slight architectural changes to the theme system, for example, removing the process layer to try to make everything make a little bit more sense to everyone. So finally starting to make some progress on that too, which is near and dear to my heart. We have a section of this weekly meeting for updates from the PMC, where if we had any issues that had been escalated for review, we would be able to update you on decisions that have been made, but we actually have no issues right now. So no updates on anything like that. In terms of other things that we're working on that aren't related to the code of Backdrop, we have an API website, which we need to have built, and I was thinking that might be a great job for some of the interns if you want to start working on that. We also have, Luke has volunteered some time on that, so maybe there's some way we can divide resources there, get that set up, and let you guys all work on it. We're also going to need an update server, so this is a server that will allow every site that's running Backdrop CMS to check and see if it is up to date or if it needs to install any major updates or updates for its contributed code. So we need someone to work on building that, copying the model that Drupal uses, and just building something for us, which would be great. We also need to create an official GitHub service so that anyone who creates a contributed project for Backdrop can register it as such, and then our primary website would be able to go through and scrape off all of that information and create a single place where you can search for official Backdrop projects. And then speaking of our primary website, we also have a couple of new sections we want to be adding to that. We're going to set up a showcase so we can show sites that are built on Backdrop, and also the modules and themes listing pages, which is a little farther down the road, but we do still have plans for that underway. And then we usually have sprints every Thursday after this meeting. Today, Nate and I will be in IRC, but we probably won't be sprinting. We'll be there to answer questions, but we're here at this conference, so we'll probably be a little too frazzled to be creating any great work. But we will be around if you have any questions. So everyone else should still feel free to sprint today if you can. And then we've got a couple of in-person sprints coming up at DrupalCorn Camp this summer in July and Twin Cities Drupal Camp in August. So hopefully that'll be right around the time that Backdrop comes out, and we'll be able to make a bunch of improvements on the initial release as well as the second release, which should be great. The internet here is not great, so if I'm cutting out, it could be because of that.
Node.js, JavaScript.
There's also a bunch of background noise going on, so I apologize for that. Maybe we should wrap this up really quickly and see if anyone has any questions or anything they wanted to open up this week, and I'll mute myself so you can ask questions if you need to.
Maybe that one. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it doesn't sound like anyone has any questions or anything they want to add. And because things are starting to get going again here, I think I would like to end this meeting a little early, if that's okay with everyone. But you can find us on IRC if you have any questions, or ask in the GitHub queue. Does that sound good? Nate, is there anything you wanted to add? No, I guess he's gone. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. All right, well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see if we can get the YouTube broadcast hookup working again after this week. You can see all the old videos on our Google Plus page if you can't find them on YouTube. But thanks all for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.